Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of the 90-day book launch. If you were here yesterday, thanks for coming back. I just want to get this in front of me. If you were here yesterday, thank you so much for coming back. We are going to be talking today about one of my favorite topics. And if you are joining us for the first time, today is day 2 of the 90-day book launch. My name is Eva Natiello, and I am the author of the New York Times best-selling psychological thriller called The Memory Box. I am also a consultant to authors on how to self-publish and how to market books to gain visibility and readership. So we are on this journey of launching a self-published book in 90 days. I will be here every day at 3 o'clock sharing with you the behind the scenes of releasing a self-published book. And I'm taking you through the steps of how I'm doing it with my book that I'm about to launch, called Following You. So yesterday we talked about preparing the manuscript for publication by getting feedback, and feedback in a number of different ways, either from readers or from editors and proofreaders. Today we are going to be talking about my all-time favorite subject, which is book covers. I love talking about book covers because they are an amazing and important, the most important marketing asset that you have for your book. And when you're an indie, you get to control the book cover and all of the facets of the book cover. So we're going to talk a little bit about how do you set out to get a cover? How do you hire a designer? Oh, first, before I say anything more, yesterday I briefly spoke about the 2 steps of self-publishing that I believe every indie author must do. I call them my non-negotiables because they're non-negotiable. And that is to hire a professional editor to copy edit or line edit your manuscript, and to hire a professional cover designer. Under no circumstances do I believe you should ever attempt to design your own book cover. Oh, except for, there's only one reason I would allow it, and that is if you're a book cover designer. So everybody else needs to hire a professional. There's a reason why. They know what they're doing. It's a business. There's a certain expectation in the publishing world about book covers, about what they should look like. And I believe it should be left to a professional. So how do you find this person? I'm going to leave you a link after we conclude with a link to Joanna Penn. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, and if you're an indie author, you should be, and if you're not, go and sign up for her newsletter and make sure you tune in to what she has to say. She is a wealth of information in the industry for self-publishers, and there is a recent article that she did where she lists tons of book cover designers. And this was an incredible resource for me when I was looking for my book cover designer. And I literally, I don't know, there must be 50 or 60 designers who she lists in this one article, and I researched every one of them. I also went to Instagram and I searched under hashtags book cover designer, book covers. I went to Twitter. I really did a lot of homework. And basically, this is what I believe you should do. You should look for an aesthetic that turns you on. Look for who's designing covers that you think are fabulous, that would work for your genre. Some designers actually just design in a certain genre. So if you're writing dystopian novels or, historical fiction novels, you might find a designer that sticks to that one genre. What I would do is when I find a designer that I really like and I see the portfolio, so you're going to go to their website, you're going to look at their portfolio. I often will see a cover I love and then I go to Amazon and look the book up, because this is what I've discovered. Sometimes designers will put covers on their website that they haven't created for an author. They've just created it for their portfolio, for their website, so that you can see what their design aesthetic is and how they think and how they approach design. Now, the reason why I don't think that's as valuable as someone who's showing the work they've done for an author and something that actually exists on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Kobo, it's like a book cover that actually belongs to a book, is because there is a real skill to working with an author who's trying to communicate what they want for their cover and interpreting that into a design. And that's a big piece of the puzzle. So make sure that the covers that you're seeing on somebody's website actually exist in the world. And it's not something that the designer just decided to kind of create on a free afternoon and put up on their website. So that's number one. Then I would reach out to the designer and see what their lead time is. When can they start? How long does it take? How many rounds, or even before rounds, how many ideas do they give you? Some designers give you one idea and then they have a certain number of rounds of changes until they get it right. Sometimes they offer unlimited changes, which is a blessing and a curse, because, I mean, you could go on forever making tweaks to your cover. Some designers will offer you 3 options in the first round. And so you get to see, which I think is kind of cool, because comparison is nice, right? You don't know if you like something until you judge it against something else sometimes. So I do prefer a designer who in the first round is going to give you a couple of different options. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, everybody. Then I would find out, of course, what their fee is. You know, it's got to be in your budget, and they run the gamut between, you know, you could get a cover for, well, actually, okay, so the custom covers, which is what I'm talking about right now, can go anywhere from $400 to thousands of dollars. So you're going to be looking for something within your budget. There is another option that is very cost effective, which is not a custom cover. They're called pre-made covers. And a lot of designers, book cover designers right now, offer these pre-designed covers that they will sell for sometimes $75 or $100. It's an incredibly affordable price. This is the thing. It has to work for your book, right? But look at them. Start there. If you fall in love with a pre-designed cover that works for your book, that's amazing, because then you get to use this cover. They don't use it for anybody else. They slide in your title, they slide in your author name, and you're good to go. And it's super, super affordable. So what should the cover... Now, I want to talk a little bit about how incredibly important this whole stage is and how you have to maximize what you do with this cover. Like I said before, it is the most important marketing asset that you have. And that's, I mean, think about it. Apart from your book, of course, but your book will take hours or days to read. Your book cover is an instantaneous, you know, your reader sees it in a second and they have a knee-jerk reaction to it, right? That is way faster than the reaction they're going to have to your book. And honestly, they may never get to your book if the cover is not really enticing. So it has to be really engaging, really provocative. The purpose of your cover design is actually to get somebody to read the blurb, right? This all happens in kind of steps when you're shopping for a book. You want to stop them in their tracks when they see your cover and say, wow, that's some cover. What's this book about? Now they read the book description, right? You've got them on the hook, and now you've got to wow them with your book description. But the first point of entry is that cover. Things that you have to keep in mind when you give direction to your book cover designer. The book cover, I always say, is a promise to the reader. You are promising them, you're making a deal with them. This is what you're going to get. Meaning, it must represent the genre of your book. You cannot have unicorns and rainbows on the cover and then have a horror book in the manuscript and say to yourself, well, they'll be surprised. No, you do not want to surprise your reader like that, because you will be slammed with 1-star reviews on Amazon. It will break your heart and you will be crying into your Lucky Charms. You need to reflect what the book is about on the cover. Reflect the genre, certainly. I am going to, in the next 88 days after today, talk a lot about comp titles and how important a list that you are going to create of your book's comp titles are, and how often you're going to go back and look at this list for a myriad of reasons. So the comp list is a list of 10 or 12 or 15 books that are comparable to yours, or they're comparison titles to yours. They're in the same genre, they have the same kind of tone. So for instance, I write psychological thrillers and suspense. I have a clear list of books in my genre. You will go to this list over and over again for various reasons. I recommend you write this list up ASAP. It's going to help you enormously. But when you're designing your cover, it's a really good idea to go to your comp list, look at all the covers that have been created for those books. Your comp list also, I would encourage you to make it current, modern. So don't pick a book from 20 years ago. Pick a book that's modern. It just launched within, let's say, the year. Book cover designs go in and out, and so you want to be up to date. You want it to look fresh. You want it to look new. It should look like it belongs to a genre, but also stand out if that's possible, and it is. So take a look at others in your genre and see what kind of colors are they using, what kind of themes are on the cover. Even fonts. Fonts kind of go in and out of style, and you'll see, are they handwritten fonts? Are they chunky and big and take up most of the page? How much white space is on a cover? So really go to that comp list and see what other people are doing. Your book designer is going to ask you for your favorite covers in your genre anyway, so this is a great thing to have on hand and already done, so you can send it to her so she knows what you like. On the cover, a couple of things can go on the front cover that I would encourage you to think about. One, if you're writing fiction, come up with a tagline. This is great real estate, right? I said it before, I'll say it again. It's your biggest marketing asset. If you have a tagline on there with a hook, maybe you can hook them in with a tagline, hook in your reader, and this is prime real estate. People are looking at that cover. I would definitely come up with a great hooky tagline. The other thing is if you're lucky enough to get a blurb from another author who's really singing your praises about this book, it would be a great place. A cover is a great place to put a short blurb from someone who writes in your genre. If you're doing a paperback, you need to think about the back. You need to think about the spine. Okay, so go to the bookstore, look at how books, go to your own bookshelf and see what's on a spine. Your author name, the title, the name of your publishing imprint. Those three things are typically on every single spine. On the back is where that coveted book description goes. And if, like I said before, if you're able to get a reader to stop and be intrigued about your cover and seduced about your cover, then maybe they will move on to read your book description. That has to be super pithy and super evocative so that, yes, you can close the deal and they buy your book. Okay, so that is my talk on book covers. Let's see if there are any, do we have any questions before I wrap up? And if I don't have any questions right now, don't hesitate to leave them later. If you watch this in a taped, watch it later in the day, leave your questions. I will try and answer them. And I hope you'll join me tomorrow for day 3 of the 90-day book launch. I hope to see you then.